What's up, guys? This is TheKephas. Blizzcon 2023 has come and gone, and after spending a few days thinking things over and letting all the announcements marinate a bit, I wanted to talk about it. You know, a lot of people have given their reactions, and there have been a lot of different reactions, and I wanted to give my honest and sincere thoughts on how I feel after watching BlizzCon. It was actually nice. They finally realized that essentially BlizzCon is a giant advertisement for their games, and maybe it's smart to let everybody watch it, you know, after all these years. Seems kind of obvious, but, you know, there it is. So I actually got to watch BlizzCon as it was happening, you know, legitimately for the first time ever, which was kind of cool. But I want to talk about that, and I want to make sure everybody understands that I'm only speaking on behalf of myself. These are my opinions, my own reactions. And just remember that opinions are harmless. So, you know, if you feel differently, that's fine. And I would love to hear about what you might think in the comments below. Now, I do apologize if I get some things wrong. It's a lot, and it's a lot to try to remember. But we're going to go off the top of my head here. We're going to go through each game kind of as they were announced and, you know, kind of go from there. So first up was Overwatch 2. And I've made no secrets to how I feel about Overwatch 2. I feel like it has been a catastrophic L. In fact, I think it's been a series of catastrophic L's, one after another. Failure to deliver on just about anything, in any way, in any capacity. I feel like Overwatch 2 is a downgrade. I really do. I even the gameplay. I know a lot of people like 5v5, but I feel like 5v5 has actually created a whole lot of problems for the game. So that's my personal opinion, but you know, my wife and I do still play it, you know, every now and then when we get time, with how crazy life is right now. When we get time to play, that's what we tend to do. We like to play that game together. So we do that, you know, so I was interested to see what they had to say. And you know what? They look like they're going to try to make some things better. They look like they're going to improve competitive. They're going to add a new game mode, which is cool. You know, they're always adding in new content over time, which is totally fine. And of course, they finally announced Malga to the game, which is great because, you know, longtime Overwatch fans have been anticipating him for a very long time, and he's finally here. And it's exciting because he looks cool. He's Samoan, by the way. I don't know if you know that. I don't know if you caught that. He is Samoan.
Especially not in our recent Samoa map. We finally have our first Samoan hero. Malga, his name, it means mountain in Samoan. Even his tattoo was created by an amazing Samoan tattoo artist.
People have been fans of Malga or manga for a very long time. Manga. He's our first Samoan hero, and we worked really hard to get that right. In Samoan culture,
I mentioned earlier that his name, Malga, means mountain in Samoan, so.
When we were talking with all of the Samoan cultural consultants,
no, my space bomb! Ah! My space armor! We get it, you're from space!
The first play of the game I ever saw with Malga was from my wife, and that was pretty cool. So we both had fun with him. We're excited to play him when he comes out, when we finally get our hands on him, you know, eventually, after we, you know, level up through the battle pass for weeks, you know. So eventually we'll get to play him, and that'll be fun. But yeah, so that was pretty much Overwatch in general. You know, I think that, like, if I want to take anything away from Overwatch, and like, I think this might upset some people, and I'm not trying to. I think it's awesome, like, to say that Malga is Samoan. I think that's really cool. The Overwatch team is big on the representation thing and their characters and having different walks of life from different places, and I think that's good. There's just something about that team, and I don't know if anybody else senses it, but there's just something off about that team. It's very strange. You know, like when you hear them talk about Malga, like I watched the panel a little bit. I mean, they spent forever just talking about Malga, and most of it was like about his heritage and like a lot of real world stuff, like how to properly pronounce his name, the tattoos, and it's just like it was like a weird education session on like Samoan culture. And I don't feel like I got a lot of information about the character himself. It's a little concerning, and the reason why it's concerning isn't that they're trying to be more diverse or inclusive. That's fine. Overwatch has always been like that, and it's one of the things about the game that's great. It's people from all over the world getting together doing stuff. But it's also just like, you don't hear a lot of character development. Like, you go back and you watch those early cinematics in Overwatch, and what was appealing was the depth of the characters themselves.
Reinhardt, live with honor.
The fact that they're from different places is cool, but the characters had depth. They had interesting stories, and I don't feel like you get a lot of that. I watched Malga's opening story, like his origin story or whatever, and it was fine. It was okay, you know, but like, Malga is he's a villain, right? He's a terrorist, okay? He's very violent, and he enjoys killing people. And they're talking about how relatable he is, and how likable he is, and how cuddly he is, and all this kind of stuff. And I think you can make that work, but there has to be a reason. Why is he this likable guy that's also a psychopath?
I think Malga also nails that, where despite what he does and his work with Talon and the kind of person he is, he's so big and lovable that you just really want to connect with him, and you do, and you enjoy playing him as a hero, as a person, as much as a tool set that really works with you in gameplay.
Everybody just has to be likable. Everybody has to be, you know, this, you know, hug box, lovable character, and it's hard to have a story with heroes and villains.
And I say, Zangief, you are bad guy. But this does not mean you're bad guy.
I think the game had a lot of potential in telling a really interesting story with really compelling characters. They don't seem to be interested in doing that. They don't seem to be interested in telling that kind of story. Everything that Overwatch originally brought, it doesn't seem to be that anymore. And so what you're going to get now is a bland PvP game with no real story and more diverse characters, which, again, the fact that they're diverse isn't the problem. It's that's just such that the hyper focus that the other aspects of the character don't really seem to get fleshed out very much. Or if they do, it's to make them likable so that, you know, hey, look how inclusive we are. I know some people might find that upsetting. People might not like that opinion, but that's my genuine opinion. And, you know, remember, I am a visually impaired person. I relate to Reinhardt, not because he has one eye, but because of his character. That's what I relate to, and that's what I care about the most. And so, like I said, it's great to be inclusive. It's great to see people represented. It's easy to be inclusive. You should. That's easy. It doesn't take a lot of skill to do that, okay? But what takes skill, and what makes it impressive, and what makes it meaningful and have an impact is the skill aspect, which is crafting interesting, fascinating characters, and Overwatch does not seem to be capable of that anymore, in my opinion. So that's what I take walking away from Overwatch. It's fun to play. Malga's going to be fun, but that's about all I'm going to get is some fun from time to time. I think Overwatch was one of the most interesting stories at one point in time. The emotional impact that it used to have in those shorts, I don't feel it anymore. So I would love to hear what other people think about this. I hope you guys don't think that I'm crapping on inclusivity. I'm not. I think that stuff's great. I'm highlighting another issue. So I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from with that. People can be very volatile about that subject. So, you know, try to be understanding.
What can I say except you're welcome?
Let's move on to Diablo 4. When Diablo 4 came out, I started playing it. I played through the campaign. I saw what endgame was, and I kind of bounced. I just stopped playing. I didn't want to engage any further. I haven't played any of the seasons. I've heard that Season of Blood made the game better, and it's actually kind of fun. Even Lazy Peon recommended it, and, you know, anytime, you know, Peon recommends a game, you know, I feel like I have to try it out, because I tend to align in a lot of ways with him in terms of what I like from games. So yeah, so that was cool. And other people have as well. You know, people talk really well and speak very highly of Season of Blood, which is cool. So I might check that out. If you played Diablo 4, you're playing Season of Blood, let me know what you think. Is it worth checking out? But as for the future of Diablo 4, they've already announced the first expansion, which we knew they were going to do annual expansions, and that's fine. Looks like they're going to be focusing on Mephisto, which is cool, and adding in a new class. I have mixed feelings. I don't feel like they announced enough to get me really that excited. They didn't seem to have anything to show, which is concerning if you're going to release content in a year. That's very concerning, actually. And, you know, when you think about, you know, annual releases, there's a part of me that wants to be excited about more content. But on the flip side,
I think we all know where this is going, so let's just skip to the end.
you think of games like Call of Duty, you know, where they have annual releases, or the sports games, or, you know, Assassin's Creed. A lot of games do annual releases, and it doesn't make the IP better, it makes things worse because you're not getting a lot of value out of your content. To keep up with the schedule, you release less with each, content update, and you're paying more for less. And if that's the future of Diablo,
I'm out.
But then we get into the real main event. And when I say that, I mean genuinely, because I was listening to the crowd. World of Warcraft is where the magic still is. In spite of everything that the game has gone through, there is still magic in World of Warcraft, and there is still a hunger for quality Warcraft experiences. You can see it from the audience and just the interest that people have in the game. So the thing about WoW right now is that it's at a crossroads. It's been at a crossroads. Both modern WoW and Classic have both been at a crossroads in terms of their future. And so first was Classic. And I'll be honest, the one thing I didn't want to see was Cataclysm. That was the one thing I was like, oh God, they're going to do Cataclysm and that's going to suck, because we know where Cataclysm leads to. We know that leads to Shadowlands, right? We know that leads to Warlords. And of course, Cataclysm itself maybe wasn't all that compelling when compared to the original trilogy. I'm in that camp, but there are other camps, right? And there are a lot of people that are excited to play Cataclysm. So frankly, as much as I say I'm not as excited, I'm probably going to play Cataclysm Classic. It's going to be there. May as well check it out. I know I played Cata back in the day. There'll be fun to be had. It'll be fun to revisit the changes in the classes, but I don't know if I will be as compelled by it as I have been with everything that Classic has offered up till now, which is especially, Vanilla was really good. Wrath was exciting. TBC was also exciting. But there's something special about those original three that I don't think anything else is really going to reach the same heights. Maybe Mists, maybe Legion. That's about it. Okay. But regardless, Cata Classic is there. It's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. Kind of sad that Wrath is ending. I mean, I love Wrath. They might revisit it down the road. Their logic is if we keep it there all the time, then people are just going to lose interest. But if we give it a little bit of absence and let it breathe, then absence makes the heart grow fonder, and down the road, they can bring it back. In terms of static content, like a previous expansion without any changes, that's absolutely true. So, hey, if they bring it back from time to time, for the rest of my life, then I'll hop back in and play me some Wrath Classic again. So I'm okay with that. So if they want to move forward with the expansions, that's fine, because they announced something else, and this something else has actually got me really excited, and that is the Season of Discovery. I think that a lot of people, when they think about Classic Plus, they think about something like Turtle WoW, private servers that are doing pretty incredible things with the vanilla World of Warcraft experience. I mean, if you want to call it the vanilla experience, the classic WoW experience with new content, with some additions, with changes, that kind of stuff. And that's Classic Plus. Trying to talk about Classic Plus with people online is just annoying, because people are getting all overly philosophical and saying a bunch of platitudes like, well, what is Classic really? It's like, it's not a hard concept, dude. Go play Diablo 2 Resurrected, okay? It's Diablo 2 with some new content and some modernizations. Go play old school RuneScape. Same thing. People try to make it way too complicated, but we're not getting Turtle WoW. But what we are getting, in my mind, is Classic Plus, okay? We're going on a new adventure with some new additions to those classes through the rune carving system. And that looks fun. I've looked at what abilities are going to be added, and I am absolutely excited to play different classes. I think it's going to make paladins more fun to play, especially ret paladins. I think it's going to be fun to play a tank warlock and a tank shaman. I'm going to do that for sure. It's more than Season of Mastery. In my mind, it's Classic Plus.
Close enough.
Blizzard absolutely needs to take Classic seriously. I think that Classic has as much of an appeal, if not even more so, with a lot of people than modern WoW does. And so I think that Classic is a big part of World of Warcraft, and I think they probably know that better than anybody, and hopefully they can capitalize on it and make something truly special, because there is a lot of magic in Classic WoW for sure. But you know what? There's also a lot of magic in modern WoW as well, and I felt that when Chris Metzen came out and started talking about stuff.
Please welcome my friend and the executive creative director of the Warcraft universe, Chris Metzen.
Dude, no one sells WoW like Chris Metzen. The dude is the heartbeat and soul of World of Warcraft, and he made some pretty exciting announcements. What I thought was really cool is he left off with Sargeras stabbing the sword into Azeroth, right? And now that he's back, guess where we're going back to? We're going back to the sword. What about that sword? Okay, so pretty much everything that's happened since isn't that important. We're going to move on from the post-Metzen era and all the nonsense, and it's going to take him about 3 expansions to get things back on track.
Oh no. Anyway.
But what they've announced is exciting. 3 expansions, right? The War Within, Midnight, and The Last Titan. It all sounds great. I have confidence that under Metzen, it will be good. The reason why I have that confidence is like people talk about, well, Metzen's made mistakes before, but when Metzen made mistakes, he would always own up to his mistakes. He would write like letters to the fan base. Sorry, I messed up. I'm going to do better. You know, he was genuinely committed to telling a good story. And even if I didn't like everything, overall, I felt like the story was good. People doubted him in Mists of Pandaria, and what they did with Mist by the end was really good. Okay, so I have a lot of confidence in Metzen. Whereas honestly, I feel like most of the WoW story since he left has been nothing but strikeouts. You know, like just not good.
I am not that person anymore. I have no light. Not after what I've seen. Not after what I've done.
Shut up, bitch.
I will say, like, Dragonflight has been a great expansion. The WoW team really put a lot of heart and soul into. I don't like the feel of it, the vibe, the way the story is presented. Some of it just feels a little bit too lighthearted and weird.
They're just standing there and talking, okay? That's all they're doing. That's all they ever do is just stand there and talk.
But overall, like, I feel like it was pretty good. I think that if they can continue with that ethic and cadence, that there's a lot of hope for the future of World of Warcraft. What they announced for the War Within does excite me a lot. Warbands, for example, the game becoming more alt-friendly. Now, my characters are a part of a band, right? They are related, and I get to see them share the progress. That excites me because I play every character. I level up every character for macros alone. And now it's exciting to be an altaholic and go through the game, not as one character, hopefully, but going through the game as multiple characters and doing whatever I want. Doing that in Final Fantasy is awesome. Being able to switch jobs on the fly, it's a great experience. So if they can achieve that in WoW, it will absolutely make the game 100% better. That infrastructure change is exciting to me. With all that being said, you know, all this infrastructure, what really matters is the game itself, the content itself, and what you're going to be doing. The class ascensions, or hero specs as they call them, are exciting. I like what they're doing there. It sounds fun. It's going to add a lot of depth. And then delves, you know, which are not dwarven elves, by the way. I think it's great at the very least that they're working on what they call evergreen features. We're going to add features to the game and they're going to stick around for the next expansion. You know, you look at a lot of old features, Legion artifact weapons, class order halls, the garrison, Torghast, the island expeditions, war fronts, Azerite power, all these things, they're gone, right? They were there when the expansion was here, and then once the expansion ended, they all went into the trash can. I mean, some of them are still around, but they don't have the same impact or significance that they used to have, you know? So, like, garrisons are still there, but they're pointless, right? A lot of the mentality that Blizzard has is getting new players caught up, right? That's what they think. But the thing is like a new player playing WoW, there is 20 years of content that's all new to them. And if you can manage to keep it fresh and keep it viable and keep it interesting and encourage players to check out all that content, then you've got characters coming into a game that have 20 years of content and tons of gameplay experiences. The fact that they're focusing on evergreen content, I think, is great. I'm excited to play a War Within. I'm going to check it out. Here's what I know. I know that for the next year of World of Warcraft, I'm going to have fun. That's what I know. Whether it's through the Season of Discovery, whether it's through Cataclysm or Hardcore Classic, or through a War Within, I know that I'm going to be having fun over the next year with World of Warcraft. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Whether it's for a month or 2 months or the whole year, I don't care. I'm going to play WoW and I'm going to have fun with it. That's all I need to know to be excited.
I'm just excited. In fact, I've never been more excited in my entire life.
So those are my thoughts on everything. If you managed to stick around this far, I would love to hear what you thought about any of this stuff in the comments below. If you agree with me, do you disagree with me? Feel free to disagree with me. That is totally fine. Just be respectful about it, okay? What do you think about BlizzCon? Are you excited about the future of any Blizzard stuff, their games? Let me know in the comments below. With all that being said, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by clicking that like button. And feel free to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it as well. And if you'd like to see more videos, you can subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon to be notified as soon as new videos are posted. You can also follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like, you can support my work on Patreon. Links to all that stuff can be found in the description below. This is TheKephas. Until next time.